Zergs can come back from incredible damage. They can sit on their bases with their unlimited vision, lose those bases, and it doesn't affect them at all. You think after 2 bases sniped, taking harass damage while dealing none in return, that you'd be able to kill the Zerg player, but you just can't. My build is nuanced, and it's hard to those unexpecting, but seriously unfair that someone with 0 awareness that they're going to get hit and can fight it back. This was sent in by Go To You Death, a European player in the Masters League at 4,450 MMR. And there was actually an added note to this as well that reads, if you don't like my real build, do it in beating Grandmaster with stupid stuff, because you'll be shocked at how successful and real it is. Those caps in there. So I think what Go To You Death is complaining about here is that Zerg can be unexpecting of a nuanced build order, whatever that is, and still be capable of holding without any trouble whatsoever. So let's investigate that claim. Is it IMBA or does he suck? All right, here we go. Go To You Death, our legendary Protoss player, versus Toru, the blue Zerg. And this is a pretty high level game, 4.5k-ish MMR, so I'm really excited for the build orders here, seeing what it is. He said he didn't have a good build order. He said he had a nuanced build order. Now, I'm not quite sure what this means. When it comes to build, I know what the word nuance means, but in a build order, I don't quite understand what that would be. That there's a lot of like tiny little things that make it more efficient or that make it slightly better, I guess. I'm just not so sure. I've never heard someone describe a build order like that yet, a nuanced build order. This is like the sophisticated armies. I always like when people call their army sophisticated. It sounds very good, but I don't quite know what it means either. Like a sophisticated army, it's like less primitive, I guess, in a way. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to this. We have a quick gateway, and wait, what was this? What happened over here, my friend? I completely... Okay, we're gonna have to entirely go back into this game. Look at that. This is what happens, you know. We start too quick. So, my good friend, Go To You Death over here. Now, this is very nuanced as well. This is very special. Let's just start all the way back from the start. Why not? I missed it. You might have missed it. Look at this. It was in the back of my head that this was going to be a free block here on the other side of the map. My man opens up with a... This is a very nuanced opener. I'm gonna have to watch this 3 times. Look at this, okay? The probe starts over here in the main base. You see that? Then Go To You Death sends out a worker to go for a 13 pylon, realizes that this worker is not going to be in time for a 13 pylon, doesn't produce the 14th worker, okay, for about 3 seconds. This worker goes straight across the map, then builds the worker here, and then gets his pylon in his natural 30 minerals too late. Now, this is one of the most nuanced openers that I've seen in my entire life. So he wastes a little bit of Nexus time, those probes are late. He uses a second probe to ensure that he gets a block on the other side of the map. And then, what do we see when we speed up? He still arrives too late. This is like taking the train a day early, but going in the incorrect direction. It's like, I thought you left yesterday. He's like, I accidentally went to Switzerland, and I wanted to go to Canada. Yeah, I don't think you can go to train by Canada if you're in Europe anyway, so maybe that was your mistake after all. Yeah, you can definitely block your opponent's hatchery on Grassland, by the way. That is no problem, especially if you send one of your first workers across the map. So, this build is very nuanced. Look at this. How long was this worker standing there? This is a level of nuance that I have not seen before. Let me tell you that. Rather than right-clicking on the assimilator so that this bad boy goes in automatically, he decides to wait it in front. He's just playing nice. And then, as a result, has 5 seconds less of gas mining. Yeah, I've never seen stuff like this. Oh, where are we going? Oh, building a Nexus, I guess. Pulls into the gas. I do like that. If you're playing Stargate specifically, I think that is generally a very good call to go for. It's pulling some workers into gas. Now pulls one out of gas. Wait, what? Wait, I'm not going crazy, am I? I don't think I've ever spent this much time in the first minute of a game. What in the world is happening over here? So forgets to mine gas. To make up for it, sends 2 extra workers in gas. Mines a single trip of Vespine and then pulls the worker out. Well, I have never seen something like this before in my life. That is the one thing I do know for sure. Holy crap. The amount of nuance in this build order it's flowing out of my ears. And what do we have as a follow-up here? Probe goes back home. We got our second gas, which is a little bit delayed, but not the end of the world. Second pylon could start soon. I'm gonna have to pay so much attention to this build order now. Like, things here are happening that I didn't know were humanly possible. Okay, proxy's a pylon. Some sort of proxy Stargate is what I'm assuming here. Proxy Robo is not very popular. Proxy Twilight makes no sense. So Stargate is the thing that seems most logical for me. And in that case, actually mining earlier with 3 workers in gas and keeping the mining makes sense because you want that Stargate ASAP as well. And it's gonna go home with this probe too, so that is cool. Chronos out and adapt. So, I mean, this is a build I generally like. It is just poorly executed because you didn't get the block on your opponent's natural. But I think this is a really good build. Like, this is also not really beating Grandmaster with stupid stuff. Like, often the point of beating Grandmaster with stupid stuff is that I do a build that is bad. Or stupid. But this is, I mean, Proxy Oracle is freaking good. Like, that's an A or an S tier build in my opinion. Like, if you can mix that in every now and again, yeah. Thumbs up for you, my friend. That's a great plan. Just not a huge fan of the execution yet. Second gate here is coming out. Adept is going to be sent across the map as well. That does feel good. Maybe he's going to get a drone kill here if Zerg isn't paying attention. Zerg did not pay attention. It actually was relatively slow. More drones coming in. Did this Zerg literally build 0 links? Yeah, this is great. I hate Zergs like this. Like, this is obviously illegal. If there was double chrono or if the second adept went across the map at any point, you legitimately just kill the Zerg with 2 adepts. You get like 7 worker kills or something. And it's over. It actually is freaking over. Now the Oracle is going to go in towards the main base where there is no second queen yet. I mean, this is just freaking huge now. It's going to get, what, 3-4 kills? 3, 4... But what? Why did we do 3 shots on the queen and then damaged 2 separate drones? I don't quite know. It could have had at least 2 more drone kills. Maybe even 3 more drone kills. So, not the greatest execution. But yeah, this build generally is quite good, I think. Not a huge fan of the massive hole we're leaving in the wall here. But the timing of this Nexus is at least correct. Going charge into and forge. Cancel and rebuild. Now, I don't want to be that guy, you know? But I kind of do want to be that guy. So, as Protoss, we have a limited amount of chrono boost. Hopefully, if you're chrono boosting well, or you have a limited amount of chrono boost. You have infinite amounts of chrono boost. If we're going for what seems to me like this is going to be some type of timing attack with charge and +1, we have to allocate this resource, the chrono boost, accurately. Now, there is a trick, okay? This is a very high-level trick that only the highest level pros know about, and I'm about to share it with you for free. So if you want to match 2 different types of upgrades and make them finish at the same time, a quick trick that you can do is you can hover over the upgrade and see how long it takes for it to research. So charge takes 100 seconds. While +1 takes 121. That means that +1 takes 21 seconds more. Now that roughly equals 2 chrono boost. That means that you want 2 more chrono boost on your forge than you want on your Twilight Council. So far, the +1 started later and also has an even amount of chrono boost as the Twilight Council, and thus most likely is not quite going to completely match up. But maybe I'll be proven wrong, you know? Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and I just revealed this massive secret that only the best of the best know about for no real reason, as he has actually stopped chronoing the Twilight Council. So maybe, you know, maybe I spoke too soon. It is possible. I just wanted to put it out there for everyone to know. You know, it's everyone. I think everyone should know about this. As indeed it is going to be a timing push. And this is actually a really high tier build. This actually, he's doing it well. Okay, I said nothing. I am the idiot. Revealing my tricks here. It's still not going to be completely matched up because the +1, well, it started a little bit late, but I'm okay with that. No, this build is super high tier. Like, if you would ask any Zerg player, and it's like, hey, what do you think is a really good build? I'm actually really sure that they tell you, well, Hatch Block into Proxy Stargate, into single Oracle, followed up by some type of Twilight Council build, like a Glaive Adept attack, a Charge Lock all-in, or a Blink attack. Yeah, that is freaking strong. I, however, do have an issue with your build order, and that is that the execution of it is just, well, severely lacking, I think. It really is. Right now, you're pushing 5 minutes and 51 seconds into the game with 2 Adepts, 2 Zealots, and then 4 more Zealots. So 5 more Zealots. So 6 Zealots, 3 Adepts. No, 2 Adepts are over here, and 1 Oracle. That's your push. If you open with just a single Stargate unit, you can hit at about 530 with freaking 13 Adepts. Okay? 530 with 13 Adepts with Glaive upgrade. Now, they don't have +1, but that hits about 21 seconds earlier and with significantly more units than you are hitting with. So I am pretty sure I've never tried playing a Charge-Lot Rush after a single Stargate unit, because I do think that it's kind of weak against high queen counts, which generally Zerg gets high queen counts. But I think your build is just inefficient. This isn't beating Grandmaster with stupid stuff at all. Beating Grandmaster with stupid stuff is me using something stupid, then optimizing that, making sure that, yes, I am playing something really dumb, but it's the most efficient way of playing really dumb. And that allows me to win with it. This is playing something that is genuinely quite smart, and then doing the opposite of optimizing it. It's like having a really good concept, a really good idea, and then completely throwing out of the window. Pretty similar to what Twitch is doing with their platform right now, which is something I wouldn't generally recommend. You do get a kill here on the hatchery, but if we really look at the current situation, if we closely analyze it, aka take a look at the drone count, we'd realize that we're still behind. You're down 16 workers. You are at an even amount of bases. Yes, your upgrades are better, but only ever so slightly. You don't have any follow-up tech yet. Your gas count is extremely late, which means that your follow-up tech is going to be most likely relatively late. There's no fort base, so I don't entirely know where you believe, like, you should have had an advantage now. It is very standard for Zerg to have a fort base done at the 630 mark or 620, sometimes even earlier already. Sometimes they already have a 5th base as well. Like, there would be no problem at all. You didn't really kill any drones. Well, you killed 7 total so far in this game. And 6 of those were by this Oracle, I think. At least 4 in the early game. So you didn't really do any damage. You basically invested a significant portion of your eco and your aggressive resources into right-clicking a hatchery. And I guess clearing a couple of roaches. There were queens in the process as well. Like, this was a largely unsuccessful trade. Absolutely. Like, not a successful trade at all. If this Zerg had been spending money throughout, you would be completely dead. Right? Well, not completely dead, but I think you would be severely behind. This is a very good run by. I do enjoy that. And this is okay-ish micro as well. Well, never mind. It's okay-ish micro on the stock. It's good enough. Once again, going for a kill here on the hatchery, which is nice. But there's a base over here. There's a base over here. It's not really the end of the road. Yes, you killed 2 hatcheries, but you also end up losing 9 zealots for it. Or 8 zealots, or however many zealots that was. So I don't actually that particular trade was necessarily brilliant. Like, you lose a bit of momentum with the zealots. You lose a bunch of money, and you delay your opponent's mining. And this hatch is about to finish up, so it's not really the end of the world here for the Zerg, is it now? You're still fairly slow with transitioning into something else, but I do believe that your overall position is good, mainly due to the Zerg not macroing and having a crap ton of cash. Injects are fairly mediocre here so far. But usually once +2 finishes up and Banelings come into play, all of these fights that Zerg has been taking so far will get better and better for the Zerg as well. So gotta be kind of careful about that. 15 Banes. Whew. It's going to be annoying to deal with if you have a lot of Zealots, which you are building. Sentries. God. Okay. No, Kevin. Restrain yourself. Let's first see what these sentries are going to achieve, okay? Now, I will say that building 5 sentries in this phase of the game, where you're probably wanting to look into some type of follow-up tech, whether it's going to be Templar or, well, really just Templar at this point, I would say. Maybe get some disruptors in there, but you need some type of Archon presence. Spending 500 gas in sentries with an army that consists of 13 zealots. I don't think this is necessarily wise, okay? Especially given the fact that you know your opponent was going for melee upgrades because you've clicked his links yet, right? You've clicked it and you know that you're fighting against melee upgrades, which means Banelings as well. Yeah. Well, at least there's 500 less gas on the map. That's nice. And that's gas that's not coming back. It's a non-renewable resource, you know? This is not great. This was really not a great fight. Like, this fight, I think, really shows that you don't completely understand the purpose of each unit in this composition. So if you're playing very Stalker heavy, like you're doing, you probably want to be trading on the edge of creep or off creep altogether. What is the value of the Stalker? What does the Stalker do so darn well? It can attack, and then when it gets low, it can blink back and it escapes. So it basically gets free trades the entire time. That's what you want to do with the Stalker. It doesn't have great DPS. It doesn't. It isn't great at fighting one massive fight. No, it's great at standing on the edge of creep and moving back. Now, what are Zealots great at? Zealots are great at fighting once. They charge in and hope that there are no Banelings and they can clear. They're great at harassing as well. Having these two against a Baneling army and going for a direct engagement makes no sense. Stalkers are not meant to be used like a battering ram. Zealots are meant to be used as a battering ram, but not when there's Banes around, because then Zealots are supposed to be used somewhere else. Don't have them in your main army. If you would have played pure Stalker Sentry and stood on the edge of creep, trying to force field off portions of your opponent's army while there's no Ravagers, I would have said, okay, maybe that Sentry investment was okay, but the way that you used the Sentries here was quite frankly terrible. And the way that you use the Stalkers as well, it's like using the Stalkers as a battering ram is fairly similar to using a guitar pick as a replacement of toilet paper. Not only is it just fairly inefficient, it also is very likely to get your hands dirty, which is not something you'd usually want. Or if it's something you're into, then go ahead, use that guitar pick, my friend. Play the music. Yeah, you're just continuing to just practically move command into your opponent's army, and from a position where you were even in supply, equal on upgrades, having denied all your opponent's creep the entire time, you're now in a position where you're significantly down in supply. You still have no real tech. I mean, a single Disruptor is not a game-changing unit against Banelings. Disruptors are really good against Roach Hydra, and they also have their uses against Ravagerling Bane in larger numbers when you have Archons to tank in front of you. But just a single Disruptor by itself, when you're down 40 supply, is not going to make up a supply deficit of 40, 50 supply. Now, these Banelings get significant hits here as well, and that is kind of forcing you all in. Look at that. Disruptor killed one Stalker and a Ravager so far. Some brilliant tech that we're getting out here. And now you're trying to do the kiting of creep, and you realize, wait a second, I don't have any Oracles left to actually make sure that my Stalkers remain secure against higher link counts. And I also just don't have enough units anymore. And I think this is the point where, in my mind, the Zerg is so far ahead that it's almost impossible for Protoss to win. Zerg has +2 on melee, Zerg has the ability to move across the map because there are no banelings anymore. And Zerg's army isn't being countered right now or in the near future. Near future being the next 3 minutes. There's no Templar Archives on the way yet. There's no large amount of disruptors. There's no Colossi. There's no carriers coming in. There's just nothing. It is pure gateway units that are going to get completely destroyed here again and again and again and again. Because these are just not going to be good trades. It's not possible. Look, the roach count is getting a little bit high. I would prefer to see more links and more banelings. But perhaps it doesn't matter. Nice run by as well. No static defense here. No walling whatsoever either. Go to you that really wanted his build to deal damage because he had nothing prepared back home. No defense whatsoever to speak of. How many gates is this? That's 6 gate. It's 8. Yeah. 6 gates in the main. I can understand 1 gate in the main accidentally, but everything else should always be at your 3rd and 4th, helping to wall out against bailing run-bys. Otherwise, it's just impossible to deal with. Protoss does not deal well with bailing run-bys unless you have walls, and we've seen that so far. So now, go to you that, or is it go tau that? Go to you. Go to that. Is fairly dead, honestly. I don't think there's much you can do. There's no super battery available. Even if there was, it literally doesn't matter. You have pure stalkers, 1500 gas in the bank. Now it's like, maybe Templar Archives. Yeah, that would be pretty sick to have. So links are going to be moving in. I thought there was a bailing there, but I guess not. Everything here goes down. And nice little Zealot warp in right in front of all of the units. Then he's going to be a nice splits as well out of the Zerg. Toru actually played relatively well. I didn't like the macro in the early stages, but everything else was fairly good. Back to the complaint. What did we read again? You think after 2 bases sniped, taken harass damage while dealing none in return that you'd be able to kill the Zerg player, but you just can't. Well, you dealt harass damage on 52 workers, if I recall correctly. You killed 2 bases while you were... you killed them 1 at a time, really. Like, you can't say that your 1 attack killed 2 bases. Like, you killed 1 base, your opponent had a backup base, then you killed another base, and your opponent had a backup base. Never really dropping your opponent's overall income whatsoever. Like, maybe by a little bit, but... At that point, he still was at 70 workers, and 70 workers on 3-base saturation is completely fine. You're hardly oversaturated. So you didn't actually deny any real eco there. At least, yeah, maybe 200-300 minerals a minute. And that was the second trade with the Zealots actually wasn't all that good because you right-clicked on that hatchery, you lost 9 Zealots, and you didn't kill any drones whatsoever. And you believe that you're so far ahead. You take an absolutely atrocious engagement and you throw the game in which you did have some control. You completely throw it out. You had a good build order, terrible execution, and no follow-up plan. It's like, this is my build order. I win. Give me the win. No, you don't want to give me the win. Give it again. It's just doing the same trick again and again. And it just doesn't work like that. We're the 4.5k MMR. People know how to play. You're going to need to try a little bit harder than just executing your build order that is inefficient. I'm sorry, my friend. You suck. That's it. I can't help it. I can't help it, guys. I can't help it. 7 Zealots at the 6-minute mark with +1 is not going to be enough. And that is going to be it for me today, though. I do hope you enjoyed this episode of Is It IMBA or Do I Suck? If you did, don't forget to like button, subscribe to the channel. And of course, good luck to go to that in your next games. I do hope to see you in Grandmaster one day. Keep fighting the good fight. All right. Thank you. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment. Adios.